just incredible. Two. DJ Sourmilk.
One. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Okay, Royce the 5'9" is here.
Yeah.
Alpo, you got any sugar?
Hey, it's good to have you on the show, man.
Thank you for having me,
Welcome
man.
back, man.
Yes,
Sorry, I
sir.
kind of
Yeah,
tough for the air dap.
shake. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Man, it's an honor and a privilege, man.
man, it's good to have you back on the show, man.
I'm trying to understand, why does Keno have to be here?
Well, Keno, that's
Who
the
invited
plug.
him? Did you invite him?
We thought he came with you.
Yeah.
I rode with him, but I thought it was your idea.
Oh shit. Well,
I always maybe I don't know. We'll have, next time
do we get him in here? Or?
do we get him out of here?
Yeah, I mean.
Nah,
He
he cool.
Family.
He cool. That's family.
That's family.
He said he'll leave with the watch only. Man, so we got a new project to talk about.
Allegory.
Allegory. Why that title for the project?
I was reading this book called The Allegory of the Cave Theory by Plato. And it basically touches on, like, I'm gonna give you the short version because I know it's late and you guys are obviously drunk. it's what I pulled from it was just, like human programming, perspective. The album really goes into perspective. Perspective is like a really interesting thing to me these days.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting that two people can be looking at the same thing and seeing
See
Two
completely
different
different
things.
things.
Yeah.
and like it's each of their truths,
Yeah.
because they see it that way, so we talked about having these people in the cave and basically them being born there, and maybe 10 or so years later you take them out of the cave and the first time they look at the sun, it hurts their eyes.
Yeah.
They got to squint their eyes and it takes them a minute to adjust to the sun. And they look at large bodies of water and they can't come up with the verbiage to explain what they see to the other people in the cave.
Interesting.
And even though that they're looking at reality, it doesn't become reality to them until they're willing to accept it as their reality, because they could very well just go back into the cave, which would probably be an easier option for them.
Yeah.
So I just kind of I equate that to just the way that we take in information. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be willing to unlearn some of the things that you learn in order to be able to take in.
It's crazy the way you explain that. Actually, it almost sounds it's similar to today people that do long ass bids in jail, man, and
How they come out and
yeah, bro. It's like they're almost more comfortable in jail. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What is it that keeps you? I mean, you've been doing this for a long time, man, and been very consistent. What is it that keeps you motivated, man, to keep just keep going at it?
I don't think there's anything in particular. The older that you get, you become better at putting things into perspective. And when I came into the game younger, I was doing the same thing that the youngins do. I was running the race, kind of like getting pushed around by the universe. And then when I got to a point where I was able to put a definition on who I am, like I went and found that definition. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like every artist needs to do that. You need to define. You need to define. You need to get to that place. And I'm just in that place. And one of the things that I realized is I just like doing cool shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really like, success is so subjective. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't really need any of the things that I thought I needed to feel successful.
yeah. It's
You
crazy
know,
how that works, right?
Yeah, like for me, just like how crazy my life has been, like peace of mind is like a big thing for me. Peace of mind and freedom.
Yeah.
The freedom to be able to kind of like say whatever I want to say. I feel like that's what hip hop is predicated on, man. You know what I mean? Like, it started as this thing that gave us a voice that people didn't want us to have. And the bigger it becomes, the more PC everybody becomes, or at least they think that they have to be.
Yeah.
So and that usually comes when it's somebody that you work for, or some type of relationship that you don't want to you don't want to ruffle a feather, you don't want to risk your position that you have that you feel is important.
Yeah. And do you like, looking back, do you remember when that time was that you found that place, for yourself, or was it something that kind of gradually happened? Or It's
a gradual thing. I think it happens to all of us, but I definitely
Like, was there a certain project?
I call them spiritual awakenings. And I had one recently, for sure. I had one recently for sure, but when I first got sober, I had one. I can tell Big Sean just had one.
Yeah.
Right.
Y'all
From
see
that
this interview with Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a spiritual awakening. That's his first one.
Yeah.
What is he, 30?
I think he
probably
said.
about-
Yeah, that's about right.
I think he says. Yeah.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
And
That
then,
was.
you have them and your perspective changes and you start seeing things a little bit more like what they really are.
Yeah.
You know, it's very difficult at first when you come into the business because you're very accepting because you just want to find a place. And then you got all of these people that can sense that and they prey on you. You know what I mean? Like, and a lot of people can't, survive that.
The industry.
So the consistency with me, just when I became the most comfortable, and it's no particular thing that inspires me. Whatever that is that's on the table at the time. Like right now, I enjoy production. I enjoy making production, so that's inspiring for me. Prior to, I didn't know that I was even gonna mess with production.
What was there like a certain record you heard that made you want to be like, yo, I want to do this shit, or when did that like really?
I don't even know, man. I don't even know because I know so many masterful beat makers.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
You've worked
Yeah,
with some
you
of the
do.
best.
I wouldn't have dared. I got relationships where I talk to them on the phone all the time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have dared. And then it just was like I was messing around with the drum machine. Preem, I sat on FaceTime with DJ Premier for 2 hours, and he showed me how to work the MPC. And then Mr. Porter, my good friend Mr. Porter, he came in the room and showed me how to use Logic. And once he showed me that, then I kind of fell in love with the process. But even still, I just fell in love with, the repetition. And I'm an addict. I'm obsessive compulsive by nature. So I like to practice.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. It's fun.
Yeah.
I like to practice, especially when it's no pressure, like no sort of repercussion.
You were just doing
creating,
it for the love. Yeah.
creating, not worried about things.
That's part of the freedom that you mentioned earlier.
I love it.
Freedom.
I love it. I love it. I feel like the best art comes from, a clear mind, and just a clear focus and a clear vision of what you want to do without something distracting you from the art at hand.
And how long were you producing before you were comfortable enough to start, playing people's shit like yo, listen to this?
He seems confident. Probably like a week or two.
Well, I don't know. What you think, Vish?
Maybe like a week or two.
That's not true.
A couple months.
It was probably it was probably a few months. But man, Mr. Porter was gassing me, man.
Oh, really?
He come in the room and be like, "Yo, what is that?" I'm like, "Come on, you couldn't like this. I just started doing this." And it's just like, "Yo, you're not supposed to know how to do that fast." And then, he would be able to tell me, like, point out little nuances and shit that I'm not supposed to be good at yet. And it allowed me to develop just a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
But I've always produced. See, there's a difference between the producer and the beat maker.
Yeah.
Yes,
Y'all know
definitely.
that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I've always produced. I just didn't make beats. So, it's just a new process for me. And I draw correlations between that and writing all the time. And writing I've been doing for 20 years. I can give you that however you want it. I got the words on the strings. Like,
Yeah.
That's what you
puppet,
do.
The puppet master.
Yeah. That leads me to a question. We're talking perspective. We're talking growth over 20 years, freedom. Sean and Budden briefly touched on, signing deals early on and what those did for, Sean had an opinion what it did for him. Joe had another one. I heard 50 Cent and Diddy recently talking about stuff. What's your advice to some of the younger artists on signing those deals and having that freedom, I guess, that we all work for? Or keeping that freedom?
One of the most important things is just the obvious things that we overlook. Because at that moment, we just thinking about being famous. We either thinking about being famous or there's something in particular that's being dangled over our heads, maybe like an advance or something, which is just an advance against your money.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Alone? Alone?
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, but we don't grasp that concept. I had a conversation with my son recently. I told him that it was just like I was talking through him. You know what I mean? Like,
Does he rap?
He sings and produces.
Okay.
And he's way better than I was.
Yeah.
Wow.
At that age. He's really, really good. And I'm not just saying, well, I am saying that because he's my son, but
But you mean it.
I'm telling the truth.
Yeah.
Y'all believe me, right?
Yeah, of course, bro.
All right, so I feel like when you come into the game, you don't have to be so accepting. Like, you make the best decisions and you get the best results when you do things on your time. Like, the people at the labels, they really, like, it's the way that you have your finger on the pulse that attracted them. But somehow, when they become interested in you, you end up being on their time. So you end up being made to feel like, you need to hurry up and sign this because you won't get another opportunity if you don't hurry up.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that, like, cross that bridge when you get there is a thing that you should just make as part of your habits. You know what I mean? Because we already doing that with fame. You know, like, that's one of those things that we can imagine, we can assume what that's going to be like. But until we actually dealing with it, we have no way of preparing for it.
No idea.
So why would you want to be like that with publishing and all of these things that, you know, like, it may take a minute for you to educate yourself on them. But I'm not going to put that just on them either. It's us too. It's the OGs. Like, we have like a obligation to share information,
to teach the younger generation on.
Yeah, I'm not like coming down on the OGs that was a generation before me, even though they gave us no information.
Yeah,
they didn't, and I know they knew some shit.
Of course.
Baby signed the most lucrative deal in the history of music in '97.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, we must have more seminars and conferences, and we got to figure out a way to make the youngins feel more empowered by doing things collectively. You know what I mean? Like, I think we come in as gladiators, so we automatically assume that our contemporaries are like we're competing against each other.
Yeah, it's like you guys are rivals almost.
But we're not.
Yeah.
Not even close. If we came together as a collective, as artists, and made demands, we'd be in a much better place.
Right.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
Because there's a lot of things that we need, the next generation needs. Health insurance and life insurance and you know, shit.
Yeah.
Psychiatrists.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's another
what Joe
thing.
and Sean spoke about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, mental health is like a thing right now, and it's
That's what I was gonna say, and I feel like you know, people are starting to be more open with that. You know, I guess growing up, I never heard anybody really speak about mental health, man.
I think it's heightening because numbers are being, like, marketed to these kids.
Yeah.
Like, they're hanging off a number. Like, they think that numbers are the end all be all for everything. And me personally, I feel like you have numbers and then you have energy, which are two totally separate things. You know, like, you can have something can be streaming or it can be being viewed, and doesn't necessarily means that people like it. You know, we can look at something because it's terrible.
Yeah.
And crack jokes about it. So the numbers aren't necessarily what you would look at to answer certain questions. So you can't base all of your decisions just solely off of a number.
Yeah.
You know, like
it's funny you say that. Sorry to cut you off, but like, labels we have arguments with labels all the time because they'll come to us. They'll be like, yo, this song is streaming the best off this album. Like, this is the single. And we try to tell, like from a radio perspective, we're like, yo, like, I guess we feel like we know what works better for our listeners. And sometimes they don't get it, man. And that fucks up the artist's whole rollout a lot of times, man.
You know what I noticed with just two different types of people. Investors and people who aren't creatives. And a lot of times, 2 in 1.
Yeah.
An investor who's not creative, what they try to do, especially if they're like academic people, if they're like academic oriented, they try to turn everything into like a math equation.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's how a lot of the records happen, where it's like all of the biggest stars on one song. And it usually never works. It never works because that's not how you make music. But it's very difficult to explain the creative process to somebody who doesn't
get it or
think
doesn't
like
create.
a creative.
Yeah.
Somebody who's just adding up numbers, I can see why that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Total sense. You know what I mean? So it's like the same instincts that you have as somebody who works in radio, who's thriving in radio. The thing that makes you successful is the same thing that us artists have with our work.
Yeah.
So the people at the labels can always get into the youngins' heads and go, yo, you need to be doing this. You need to be doing that type of record. You need to be doing this type of record. Well, you need to know that most of y'all don't know shit.
Yeah.
No disrespect. It's just the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and I think as artists, we need to understand that we're a lot more powerful than we think we are. We're definitely more powerful than the labels.
Yeah.
The labels aren't more powerful than us.
They need.
It's just not. They just not.
Yeah.
It's just the truth.
Yeah.
It's no disrespect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking on, I guess, some of the newer generation, you have West Side Gun and Conway on the album.
Yes.
And also, once again, the album is called The Allegory. What is it about that Griselda camp that caught your attention and made you want to collab with them?
I'm intrigued by those guys. The first thing that drew me to them is just the lyrical ability, and then once I got past that, I was able to see the layers. Especially with Gun. Gun is something else, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's something else. He's something else.
Yeah.
And he's a visionary. And I'm drawn to those kinds of people who they have a vision, they stick to that vision, and he paints his picture very well. He's responsible for everything aesthetically that you see. Yeah. And I think that plays a large part in the building of that brand. And I like for things to, I was about to say grow right before my eyes, but that probably would be a pause, right? Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I guess so.
Slightly.
Yeah.
I don't really do the pause thing in Detroit.
Yeah. I feel like that's a New York thing.
Yeah, but so I got up on those guys early. I supported them early. I'm certainly not surprised by the success, and they continue to get better, but they're good examples of just sticking to what you do. God forbid if I hear a Benny song with Bruno Mars on the hook.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Bruno Mars is great.
Yeah, of course.
He's
Of
great.
course.
But stay away from Benny.
Protect Benny at all costs.
We just need to have the unapologetic, I'm not trying to blend in. Relevant is one of the words that they use to kind of control us. If you look up relevant, it's not really it's not really a word we should be even, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're really an artist and you're trying to make something you're trying to make something that can be discussed in any generation, which makes it relevant, but the thought process that goes into making something special is never to blend in with what's
if you're making something relevant, it's probably gonna stay right there.
Yeah.
It's kind of a negative word if you think about it.
Yeah, it's not a good word.
Right?
Yeah, it's not a good word.
Not a word you want to
I'm
hear.
a word guy though, so it's I don't like that word.
I dig it.
Who else is on the project, man, that you could tell us about?
I got my little brother Kid Vicious on the album, who's usually on every album, but he caught a body on this one.
Okay.
I work with a lot of younger artists that I felt like people should hear, like Oswin Benjamin. My man Graf is on the album.
Shout to Graf.
Graf is top tier.
Yeah.
Top tier. The whole Griselda. Vince Staples is on the album.
Another top tier.
G Perico.
Hey.
Crooked Eye. I always feel like I'm forgetting something.
Sahai's on the project? Sahai, T.I.?
Yeah, Sahai and T.I.
Okay.
You and Sahai going back to back?
Oh, shit.
That's scary.
That had to happen, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That dude's special too, man.
He's awesome.
Special.
Top tier.
Awesome.
Do you call Joe at all and try to pull him out of retirement at all, or?
I spoke to Joe today. We didn't talk about him rapping though. He's very happy doing what he's doing.
He looks it, man. He really does. He's doing a great job.
I'm gonna say something right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here because I could be off. I'm gonna go ahead and say that I think Joe may be a little bit better at doing this than he was at rapping.
I mean, and he was a damn good rapper.
Really?
He's a top tier lyricist.
Yeah.
But he's really good.
No, he's
at the
fucking
journalism
great,
and
man.
broadcasting.
I don't know if I would call him a journalist. It's almost like he's that hybrid that we were just talking about with Griselda. It's
Yeah, the truth.
He's a mixture of many things, but if he put so much emphasis on journalistic integrity or whatever you call it, it would take away from something that he has.
The naturalness that he has.
His artistry is speaking to the artist, which is almost a little bit more, I guess, user friendly. It's just something less impersonal, like when it's artist to artist. Like I just did T.I.'s podcast. I had a fucking ball.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had a ball.
But you're comfortable, with T.I., Joe makes people comfortable. He can relate to the things that you've been through and seen it all and heard it all and done it all. So, no, I could see where artist to artist you would feel that way.
It's like listening to a fighter commentate.
Yeah.
Like Paulie Malignaggi.
Yeah.
He's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, that's real.
Or D Wade coming on and doing NBA.
Yeah. Or even like coaches.
Right.
Like when coaches be fucking Hubie
like
Brown.
me.
I love Hubie Brown,
Right.
man.
Or like me when I start my own podcast. It's going to be incredible.
Okay.
What's up, man? Talk to us about it.
I'm just kidding. I'm not.
We just want to come on the show. Bring us on, man.
Yeah, because that's honestly
More
a
work
talent
for
in
myself.
itself, man. Like
Podcasting?
yeah, bro.
for sure.
And like Joe, like I know, shout out to all his co-hosts, but like being able to just fucking talk is a talent in itself, man, because that motherfucker be talking forever, bro.
Yeah,
And
he
he does it
delivers it well.
effortlessly.
When we used to go on tour, like when we was doing Slaughterhouse, when he's like in the right mood, man, we just let him do the whole interview. We just sit there because he's so good at it.
Yeah.
And then he also has his days where he won't talk
Yeah.
in the interview. He won't answer one question. He won't say anything. He'll just be smoking a cigarette. It's incredible.
I want to get back to the album, but let's transition over to M's album, surprise release. Super exciting for hip hop, and you're on a track on the album, music to be murdered by. What's that session like?
I'm on 3 songs. And they all of them happen different ways. While M was recording this particular album, I went to see him a couple times because I was also working on my stuff too. So, and then I also went on tour with him prior to him starting the album, and I didn't have the confidence to play him beats, right?
Right.
But I was in the dressing room and I was playing beats. I believe I was going through beats or something like that. And M has his own compound, his own section in the arena.
Yeah.
That he never comes out of. So like a lot of the people from like the band and just people that are part of the stage production, they're not used to seeing him in certain sections,
areas.
certain areas. So he came walking out of the compound. So he's walking and everybody's looking like
Oh shit, that's Eminem.
Like when there's a fire drill at school and shit, like that's what it looked like. Everybody was just like in a state of like, is everything okay?
Yeah.
Because he was walking really fast. And he was just like somewhere he was not supposed to be. And then he came up in the room and was like, yo, I turned around. He scared the shit out of me. So I turned around and he was like, yo, what was that last thing you just played? So I went back to it and I played it. And he was like, yo, send me that. And just walked out.
But did he know you produced it, or did he think you were just listening to someone else's beats? Oh, he knew.
Yeah, I was playing it out of a, I think I was still using MPC. Was I using MPC? No, I was playing it out of my computer. Wow. And I had my, I had the MPC MIDI'd up to something, I think or something like that. I was in there, like you can hear snares and kicks and, you can hear somebody's in there making beats. And we talk about me making beats all the time.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I never was like, yo, when you get a minute,
I want to play you some shit.
I'm going to send you a pack.
Yeah.
Never that. But then when he said, yo, send me that, he opened the door.
Of course.
So like, I just started sending him stuff. And he just started writing to stuff.
And that first one that he asked you to send him, did that turn into anything or no?
No.
Okay. So it took a few.
No. Nope. It was the next one.
Oh, okay.
It was the next one, yeah.
Okay. Damn.
I just got lucky, man.
Yeah.
I just got lucky, man. It's just
It's the universe, man.
I just got good karma, man. You know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm sure, yeah, right place at the right time, but there's also skill involved there. He wouldn't. I'm sure he wouldn't tell you to send him some bullshit.
It's just God's work, bro. What do you guys
The
want from me?
humbleness.
What do you want from me, man?
The humbleness.
Yeah. Production on the album, other than yours, on the new album?
On M's album?
No, your album.
No, I did the whole album.
Oh, you did the whole project?
Yep.
Damn.
That
dope.
wasn't my idea. See, it just happened like that.
Okay.
See, I was making beats, and I came up with a couple of them that I felt comfortable writing something to, so I recorded something to him. And Keno asked me to do an EP, and I agreed. And an EP is 4 songs. So I couldn't figure out a way to make 4 songs sound like something that can exist together as like a complete thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in my mind, the way to fix it is to add to it.
Yeah.
So one thing led to another, and it started like this big, and then it just turned into like a long track listing of just songs. So I like to say that this is the first album that actually happened to me, as opposed to me planning to
That's
do it.
dope.
Wow,
So
that's
how many tracks did you end up on? Like I'm saying on the album, what was the cutoff? How many records are on this one?
How many did I record, or how many is on the album?
No. How many made the album?
The track listing is, I want to say 22, but it's skits,
Yeah.
Okay.
short verses. Like it's in pieces, but everything comes together cohesively.
Yeah.
It sounds like Quentin Tarantino directed it. It's very,
That's dope.
very scatterbrained
Yeah.
and very abstract, and not sticking to any script or following any sort of, I think he may have told me like, yo, you can't do that because something about streaming. And I was like, oh, you never should have fucking said that. Never should have said that. Now I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Every song got to be 90 seconds.
Don't come into my studio session with anecdotal facts. I don't like anecdotal facts.
What is that, anecdotal fact?
That's what I call them, anecdotal facts.
You got it.
Well, we got this thing in the music business where people just regurgitate facts.
Yeah.
And I say that with air quotes because they're only facts because nobody actually goes and
Challenges them.
yeah, nobody challenged them. Like I was talking to Keno and he said, "Yo, you got to make a song. Women listen. You got to make a song for women, like addressing them, because women. That's what women listen to." I said, "Bro, that sounds crazy to me. That's literally like saying women only watch the WNBA because it's only girls playing."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't think it's some girls that just watch the NBA? Like, you don't think that you don't have this divine thing where you can't determine who's going to like what? I just don't think all of this thought is necessary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, music it's supposed to serve as many things. It's like a legal drug. You know what I mean? Some of it takes you to a place. Some of it is a place that you come to escape a place. Some of it just passes the time. Some of it is just some bullshit to just talk about.
Yeah.
It's all got a place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But none of it requires a whole bunch of thought and board meetings with all of these. Some people are educated, some people are not. Nobody knows how to make a record. Fairy dust.
Yeah.
So just so people know out there, Keno plays management. He's on your management team.
I don't even know him.
A&R. Does it all, right?
Yeah.
But I think the underlying message there is, it's healthy. It's healthy to have that type of conversation going back and forth. Some people might take that as a disagreement or an argument, but truthfully, that's how the magic's made, right?
No.
Or is it just your way or the highway?
No. You don't want to say that. But it should be, and I'm only saying this right now because young artists are listening. Mm-hmm. You want to get to a place where you know exactly what you want. You know what you want to do. Mm-hmm. You know what you want to hear. Once you get to that place, nobody can really tell you. It's like your vision. All they can tell you is if they like it. You know.
Fair.
But
yeah.
like if you're coming to the table in a brain trust type of situation where it's like, why don't you do this kind of album or something like that? Like if it's like that, then that's cool. That's a way to create too. It just depends. It depends, and it's just about finding out what your strengths are, what essentials you need in order to be performing at the highest of your capabilities, and building that ecosystem around you. So Keno has strengths.
Yeah.
He has strengths. Rapping's just not one of them. You know what I mean? So you got to leave that up to me. I got that covered.
Yeah. In a real way, you do.
That's right, man. That's right, man. Well, we do appreciate you coming through, man. Looking forward to the new project.
Appreciate y'all having me, man. It's always an honor and a privilege, man.
Nah, for us.
Yeah,
it's
seriously.
an honor and
No,
a
for
privilege
me.
for us, man.
No,
Nah,
for me.
For real. For
No,
real.
for
For
me.
us.
Nah, we really mean it though, bro. For real.
Appreciate it, man.
Royce the 5'9", LA Leakers, Liftoff show on Power 106.